Welcome to Modern Homestead Alaska. Up here the weather changes fast and so does life with a dairy cow. This video spans several snowy days of building new pens, managing a visiting bull, and getting ready to send off baby honey. It's messy, it's beautiful, and it's exactly what homesteading in Alaska looks like. We also get to milking the cow and we turn it into some fresh yogurt as well as some homemade butter. Won't you join us on the homestead? Of course you throw on the camera and she's gonna be a little bit naughty. It is a tough week on the homestead. We're actually saying goodbye to our sweet baby Honey this week. She is going to her forever home. And we knew this day was coming, of course, but goodbyes are never easy. They're just part of the rhythm of a homestead life. We don't have the space to keep two full-size cows year-round, and it just hasn't been part of the plan. We always knew that she was going to go to a different home, but now that the time is here, it's incredibly difficult to prepare ourselves for that. Honey was born in May, and here recently we bought these new panels. Actually, Aaron and Caleb got them all set up because we have a visitor over there. Let's head over. We'll look at how they put the panels together in order to separate the animals and to wean Honey, but to also keep her protected. I was actually inside filming another video and Aaron and Wyatt had a minute. They just put a brand new hay bale in and now they're increasing the pen size for me super quickly. So I thought I'd take you along and show you exactly what they are doing. They already pulled this gate. It was kind of a wasted gate. It was over there by the bale of hay and we almost never used it. We can climb through the panels if we absolutely have to. And then I need a gate here in order to get in and out with Peaches, but I also need a gate to get into this extension. The extension is where the little baby calf Honey is gonna go separate from Peaches in order to wean her off of her mom. Sad, sad days. I remember when I quit nursing each one of our babies, and it's a very traumatic thing for humans and for the animals too. So we can only come out 10 foot right now until we get some excavating done here and some excavating done here. Can't really tell, but there's a big hill right there with all the rocks and the trees. And so we're coming out 10 feet to make a little run for the calf. She won't even be in the run for 2 weeks before the people that we've sold her to come to pick her up. So she will be just fine for 2 weeks in this smallish pen because she's going to a new home here very, very quickly.
So let's see if it does the same thing. Go all the way into that one. With that one, this one, I don't have kind of an angle, so I go more down. So the cow puts a lot of pressure on these sometimes and pushes them out. And the cheap welds on these panels, some of them are broke. So we kind of reinforce them a little bit with some T-post. Try to help give a little extra support. And that one we're just gonna leave there for you to tie Honey up to.
No, she won't be in that pen. We still have a walk lane. Look at you. Hi, Mama's boy. Hi, handsome. Oh, did he just whack you in the face with his tail?
Beat.
All right, Beach. Daddy says you can come on out. New hay. I don't want these two gates lined up, only 10 feet apart, so that when I come in, I don't want the calf like darting into Peaches where I'm milking her. And so I want to have kind of that distance. So I do have to walk the whole distance in order to go into another gate up there, but I'm totally fine with that because I can grain the little calf at the end here, go up and do Peaches and kind of keep them separate and not fighting over that gateway, and hopefully not trapping myself someplace that I could get hurt or whatever. Well, after all that work, we had to move little Honey over here in order to keep her from sticking her head through. She was still nursing on Peaches during the day, and I've just been able to use the horse trailer as a good place for her to get out of the weather and the snow. And if a storm came rolling through, we could put her in there and she could stay warm and dry. But she was just sticking her head right through the panel, still nursing on Peaches all day. And we are now milking Peaches twice a day because the calf was still partially on her. We were only getting milk once a day, but that has totally increased. Oh, you swollen up thing. Good morning. What are you doing? Giving her somewhere to lay?
Oh, no.
Duke thought you threw it at him.
What are you doing, Mama? What are you doing, Mama? Come here. Stop. Hi. 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 Yeah, hi. What are you doing? Yeah.
What you see, baby honey? We're headed out to do cow chores and we cannot let the dogs out. I'll see if I can find them. There are two big moose in the yard. There were two huge moose in the yard just a minute ago, so they're just tucked in the woods someplace, so can't let the dogs outside, but the bull's food. There you go, honey. Yeah, wow, she's ripe this morning. Oh, goodness, girl. It's chilly. Woo. You see him start filling up? Here's the fun thing about her being a mini. Her teats are so small that it takes a goat milker, and then she gives more milk than what the goat milker will hold. So it's been fun, and then there's not 4 on it, but we tried a cow milker on her, and she is just so tiny that the cow milker would just slide completely off. It wouldn't stay up. Erin milks by hand. I do not have the hand strength for that. We milk her out a little by hand, but mostly I'm having to use this little goat milker. Starting to run. You can just watch the milk come down, and here in a second she'll let down and the whole things will fill up. Look at that. You see that? It's also super nice because it's so cold here that everything would freeze. So batteries freeze, a milk machine would freeze up by the time you could get everything apart. This being portable, even though it doesn't hold all the milk that she gives, so we have to dump it in the bucket and do the other side, I can move this little rechargeable pump in and out of the house, and it's not freezing out here. Well, we have a visitor on the homestead. He leaves the first week of December, and that will allow Peaches. She's already come into heat once. We did watch him all over her. And so she should be bred. However, in 28 days, she'll come back in again if she's not, and he'll still be here so that he can cover her. Then we're trying to put a little bit of weight on her, feeding her a whole bunch of extra. She can give upwards of 3 gallons a day. She isn't, because the calf has still been sneaking off of her. So she hasn't been giving that to us. But when the calf leaves, we should be able to get all of that out of her. So them high hip bones, man, they drive me nuts. But this is the visiting mini Jersey bull. He does a little guy, and he is so kind. He is so sweet, and he actually is the simplest to control out of all of them. They really, really well trained him as a pet, and just handled him so much that he's easy peasy. Huh. Oh, bull. Oh, goodness. I'll grab the milk and see if Erin's going to be able to get water through the hose. in the wintertime, we actually water her most of the time out of 5-gallon buckets. We just haul it out. We fill them up in the house, in the bathtub or the sink, and then we haul them out here. But with 3 of them, we need the stock tank, and the temperatures are so low. You think you got it? Whew. Hallelujah, huh?
Look at that nose ring has got to hit the one.
That's like gotta be shocking. Like just an immediate shock up the nose. Our cow locked one of the dogs in the barn. It is Blue, and this would be the 3rd time that I know of that he has been locked in the barn. Just the other night, we got back inside and we were like, where's Blue? Aaron had to get completely redressed, come outside. He's just out here with the calf in the barn, locked up for the night. We gotta go get him. Sadly, this is the last video that little Honey will be in that we know of, because she leaves for her new home this week. I have called myself her foster mom the whole time, even though she came out of my cow. We knew when we bred Peaches, we didn't have the space, or really, I didn't want a whole bunch of cattle up here in Alaska. And hold on, Blue. Hi. What are you doing? And as luck would have it, we were able to find a good home for her early on. And the people have built her whole own little barn, just like we built a whole barn for Peaches. Honey is gonna go on to live her best life in a more southern area of Alaska, where it's just a little bit warmer, not too terribly much, but about 4 hours south of us.
I don't know, when you're getting ice in the tank, it's cold no matter where you're at.
No matter where you're at?
Yeah.
Frozen hose is the same no matter where you're at?
Yeah, the wife and kids never believed me until now. Froze hose sucks, huh? You make sure you take that little bit of extra time, make sure she's drained, just to make sure the next time.
So it took you a long time to get water at the house this morning? What was wrong? If you did the hose right.
You froze up at the hydrant. I can't do nothing about that.
How did you get it out of
Can't
the
show you all my tricks.
You can't? What did you do? How did... That's a cigar torch.
Worked well. Yep, I was today.
What? What did you get done?
All your chores.
You didn't milk?
Neither did you. The machine did.
Oh my.
The machine did.
We try not to use these during the winter, but with so many cattle here right now, we are having to keep the stock tank full, and it keeps freezing up. But if I wait during the day, this, see, even that was just frozen. If I do it during the day when it's nice and about 30 degrees, I'm able to get water. But if we wait until it's like negative temperatures, like the other day was -9, I think, you can't get water. This freezes up. And Aaron had to defrost it with a little torch. Has a little pressure release valve on it, and if you're not careful, it spills down your house. See, you just have to slowly. Slow and steady wins this race for sure. Success! We have water! When Honey leaves this week, we're going to put the panels back this way, remove this center one that's attached to the barn because we don't want any of the panels. Honey is just yelling. We don't want any of the panels connected to the barn anymore, and the whole thing will push out that way and this way, and we'll have a much bigger pen for Peaches. And then we'll also be able to continue extending it over time as we kind of clear some ground and do some different things. So I'm excited for the future. However, in the winter time, they don't need as much space as in the summer because they just kind of mosey around. They hang out. They're not like horses. They don't go for big long runs during the day and exert themselves. They just kind of lay around, chew their cud, give you some milk, get lots of scratches. It's actually a pretty chill life for a homestead dairy cow. Oh my goodness. So I'm gonna finish watering and then head inside with you guys. My neighbor custom labeled all of my jars, and her husband is dropping off more gallon jars. She made like a little label and everything. I'll take you in and show you that in just a second, and then we'll make some yogurt and some homemade butter together. All right, we have a full water tank, and now it's time to drain the hose. Thank God I married a Wyoming rancher that knew so much, because when we lived in Colorado, we had 30 cow-calf pair and 6 horses and 2 bulls. And so Aaron's biggest pet peeve was when the kids and I did not drain the hose properly when he was out of town or whatever, and we were constantly dragging frozen hose into the house to defrost just to get water to our animals. And we had so many animals that it wasn't possible. Like, you couldn't just walk a 5-gallon bucket out there. So Aaron, over the years, has taught me how to drain this hose, that no matter the temperature, if you can get water out of the spigot, you can have a defrosted hose. So we're gonna drain it real quick. Remove this end first. Drag it down the hill. Towards the lake. Leave it there. My son brought the bobcat. He is clearing a area and kind of working that dirt for me so that I can do Christmas lights. Not Christmas lights. We're gonna put up trees with lights on them. Anywho, we're gonna hook it here. All right, we got the hose drained. All the chores are done. Let's head in. I have to take the cream off the milk, and we're gonna turn one of the gallons into some yogurt. We have some yogurt draining already, and then we'll do the butter I told you about. So let's head in. I have been, well, we went outside and filmed draining some Greek yogurt. The greatest part of yogurt is that the yogurt makes more yogurt. You don't have to get like a new starter culture every single time, and we just make it in the Instant Pot. So here in a minute, I'll make some of that. But I have been draining it, and there's this entire bowl of like the whey, the liquid that is separated from the milk solids, and then it's this beautiful, let me show you, this super thick Greek yogurt. And now we're just going to move it into a jar. And so I'm just gonna add probably 3 spoons of the liquid back on top just to keep the yogurt from drying out. That is so thick. We're actually gonna add to the dog's food tonight because it's full of good probiotics and good gut biome and all of the amazing things because it's come from raw milk and turned into this yogurt, and everything that's growing in this culture is actually really, really good for the dogs. So their skin health, their gut health, their winter coats that they're putting on. And then our one dog that we've shared on here that has epileptic seizures, we almost recently lost him. And one of the things that can truly, truly help with those seizures is high amounts of omega-3 fatty acids, so salmon. But with the medications he's on, because he is on a barbiturate as well as another seizure medication, and he's on large doses of those, they can totally eat up the gut, and he is almost like starving. When you give it to him, he is trying to like break into food and those sort of things. And we have found that feeding him and helping with like all of these byproducts of the milk, he is doing so much better, and he has been seizure free since his recent stay in the vet overnight. So I said all that to say, like, the health that this is giving our 5 dogs, not just the calf's health and our health and the neighbors that we're sharing it with. It is amazing how far Peaches' milk is going and what it is doing for the neighborhood as well as everyone in this family, including our fur babies. I got these little labels off of Amazon, and I'm able to just keep track of the milk and the dates, the AM, PM milking, all those things, but I just put yogurt on there and the date of the yogurt. So that can get set aside. I'll pop it in the fridge here in a minute. It sat in the fridge overnight so that it completely set up before we tried draining it, but I need 1/4 cup of it here in just a minute to start yogurt again. So let me show you something. The way the sun is coming in. Oh, so here's what happens. There's the mountains, there's the lake. Maybe you can see it with me blocking that. The sun just bounces for only about 5 hours a day on top of the tree line. So it comes blasting through these 2 living room windows, and here's the kitchen. So I'm just showing you my whole real house. And in the kitchen, I've just drug out all this milk. So I'm getting a super shadow on it. So I'm hoping that you can see it. So I moved one of them over here to show you. I'm gonna put my finger on it. That is cream. That is milk, but that is how much cream is in each gallon of milk that this cow is giving me. And on this one, I'm hoping you can see it, that is cream. So one of the greatest parts of having a Jersey is they are a heavily cream animal. Now, the other thing I wanted to show you was the jars. I got these gallon and these little fat half gallons off of Azure. I'll leave an Azure link. Azure is where I get all my spices and our bulk grains and all those different things that we can't get otherwise. But you can get them Azure in the lower 48 really, really easy. And it's a good way for us to get good products up here in the US. But Azure sells these gallon and half gallon jars, and then they don't have any ridges on them. So my neighbor was able to label them up, and then their lids fit both the gallon and the half gallon, and they sell them in increments, even though they're sold separately, but they sell them in increments that equal like a case of jars. So I hope that kind of makes sense. But these are way, way better for home milk cow than like these half-gallon mason jars. And I'll show you why right now. The ladle. I can ladle the cream out of these jars, but the ladle doesn't fit in these half-gallon jars. So I have to do something a little bit different. But on occasion, I just have a little overflow of milk, and it is what it is. So we're going to separate the cream into this, which I've already separated some cream, but we're gonna add all the cream in, and then this is what we're gonna make butter from. So here's our cream. And then here, so on this day, she gave me in one milking 1.5 gallons. So she's the size cow that will max out at 3 gallons a day. So anything around the 3 gallon mark. So 1.5 gallons per milking is actually really, really good for her. This one I might have previously skimmed. So, but look at that. Do you see that? The cream is so thick. It's like a cross between what you can get like store-bought heavy cream and almost like sour cream texture. Like it's so, so thick. So this one's ready. One's done. This is, I can see it, look at that. This is the same milking as that one. This much of the gallon of milk, that is all cream. So what I kind of do is stick my finger there, and I don't dip the ladle. Look at that. Look how thick that is. Woo. Let's get together. All right, so already between these two jars from the same day and that little bit that was in there, we are already at 1/2 gallon of cream. So this one, we already have a whole gallon of cream pooled, and so this one is going to go into the fridge until we have enough to do butter again, and we'll use it for coffee. You can use it to make whipping cream for desserts, anything that you would use heavy cream for. Greek yogurt is so simple. You just plug in your Instant Pot. I'm going to take 1 gallon of the oldest gallon of milk and turn it into yogurt. The rest of the gallons are gonna go to neighbors. We have 1 gallon in the fridge for us. And then we're gonna feed the neighborhood with the rest of them. And then I'm hoping to learn to make like cheese and some other stuff. So that's 1 gallon. And I need about 4 tablespoons of the Greek yogurt that we made this morning, or just strained this morning. So I'm gonna put 1/4 cup of that Greek yogurt in there. And because I still have the juice, I'm gonna put 1/4 cup of that. So this is just the whey that came off of the yogurt. Use a spatula and just mix that in, because we want it broke up into the milk. That way the cultures are getting everywhere and not just in a little clump somewhere that would have to work its way out. So stir it for about 15 seconds. You're not gonna believe this. Just put the lid on. Get it out of our way and push yogurt And in about 8 hours, we take it off. I'll pull the insert out. It will be completely set up as Greek yogurt, and I will let it go in the fridge overnight, and then I will strain it and repeat the process. So we're also gonna use the yogurt in order to make one of the 2 kinds of butter. So there's 2 ways of making butter. With one of these half gallons, we're just going to, it's already cold, straight out of the fridge, separated off, fresh cream. We're just going to just straight turn it into butter. But what I've actually been doing for Aaron, because he's on carnivore and he eats a lot of cheeses and yogurts and so on, but to add like a richness of flavor, and the way butter originally was made in the US and in other cultures is to actually culture the butter. And the way that you do that is you add a little bit of the Greek yogurt into the cream. So the same as the yogurt, but we're not going to heat this. Instead, we're gonna just stir that in, and I'm gonna let this sit on the counter for about 12 hours. And it's just going to lightly culture the cream. It is not going to do the same thing as what the yogurt, but I need the yogurt in order to make the cultured cream. And then we are going to refrigerate it overnight and then follow the whole process of making butter. Identical way of once you get to putting it in the machine and making the butter with it, there's not a whole lot different. The flavor is totally different though. So we're enjoying both of them. This one is so good on bread and fresh eating and those sort of things. However, I have made a few batches of the straight butter in order to use it in cooking and baking and some different things. So this one will be cultured. We'll just put a lid on it and let it hang out for about 12 hours. You can culture the butter up to 24 hours, it said. But my way of doing it is, you know, kind of first I just leave it on the countertop and do it this way. Then it does need to be cold in order to turn it into butter. And so that's why I just pop it in the fridge overnight, and then in the morning when I'm already doing all of the dishes from milking the cow and the whole 9 yards, then I might as well make my cream. So that one we'll set aside. The yogurt can go in the fridge now. So if you're new to dairy cows and maybe you're watching this just for that reason, or you're just here to learn something, I was using the KitchenAid mixer in the beginning, and I put this on it and was trying to keep it from sloshing around everywhere, and it takes forever for the KitchenAid to whip the butter or whip the cream into butter. And then I thought, why not try and use the Bosch? Mostly we use this Bosch. We grind all of the moose and the cow and all of that when we get animals, and then it's pretty good, but it really, like for cookies and things like that, it super whips the batter, and so it wasn't my favorite for like baking. But I went ahead and broke it out and thought, oh, let me try and make the butter. I ran this side by side with the KitchenAid. I was able to make 2 batches of butter in the Bosch in the amount of time it takes the KitchenAid to do it. The Bosch is super quick. It doesn't slosh and spill all over the place. I was having to move this to the sink and like take the sprayer all the way underneath my mixer, everything. It was horrible. And I was like, this butter thing is not working out. Thank God I have a different mixer. So I'm gonna tell you, if you're into a home dairy cow, in order to make your own butter and stuff, the right equipment is definitely worth its weight in gold. And thankfully I didn't have to go and buy this mixer. I think both of them have their pros and cons, but when it comes to making butter, this is the way to go 100 out of 100 times. So 1/2 gallon in of cream. This lid on the Bosch goes on, and we make sure that all of it is locked down, otherwise it would leak. Come on, girls. Okay, so that is locked in place. This top is locked in. Everything's locked in. And there you go. So start it out at a 3 and let it become whipping cream or whipped cream. So I set a stopwatch on my phone to show you how quickly things change. So it's been 2 minutes and 48, 49, 50 seconds. And now it's like whipped into whipping cream. So what we're looking to happen is we now need the cream to break and to separate those milk solids from the whey or the buttermilk. And once they're all separated, all those flat, fat globules, they go onto the mixer blades and you're able to like literally just scoop it out. I'll show you in just a second. Okay, we're about 7 minutes in and it is now just looking like milk. So on to the next phase. Okay, so I believe it's done. It's been 36 minutes because now we have liquid that's literally sloshing around. Yep. Pretty close, so maybe 1 or 2 more minutes. All right, we'll take it over to the sink. I should check, I guess. Yep, it's ready. And so, to not make a mess, I just have a piece of butter muslin here and a strainer that has a filter in the bottom. It's the same thing I use for the milk. In the meantime, in this cold water, we just have it, we'll bring it all together. We're going to knead the butter and get all of the buttermilk separated from the fat. From our butter. And now we're going to, so that sets aside, we'll wash all that up. Now bringing the butter together into one big clump. I'm going to start running. This is straight from our well, so it's cold, cold, cold water. And I'm going to knead the butter in the cold water. And eventually the water will stay clear and we will have worked all the buttermilk out. So now we have clean butter, and it's just butter at this point. And if you want to make it salted, I'll show you how to do that now. All right, now, so we have butter, we have buttermilk, we have yogurt. Wyatt just dropped 4 gallons of milk off to my neighbors, who between them have 7 children. So they each got 2 gallons of milk today. And we have our own gallon. We have cultured butter going, and we have the leftover byproduct from the yogurt for the dogs. So the butter is just fine like this. I had it wrapped in the muslin just to kind of get some of that water off of it. But if you want to salt your butter, all you do, take your salt. So this is some Redmond salt. It kind of has a color and a texture to it. It's not perfect, but it will work. So a spoonful of salt. This one has like some minerals and stuff in it. I don't mind because I know what I put in it, but if you were giving this away, you might want to use a salt that maybe doesn't have any color. And now we're just gonna knead the salt into the butter until it dissolves. While I'm kneading the butter, so from here, I'm just gonna wrap it in some parchment paper and freeze it because we have plenty thawed out, and then put a date on it, and that is it. I'm just gonna store it in the freezer so that we can continue to stock up our butter stock instead of having to purchase butter. We've been purchasing at like Costco and regular places like that, but it is amazing. The color, the texture, everything about it. Look at, it's almost like Play-Doh. Isn't that so beautiful? And then same process tomorrow for the cultured butter. No big deal, but it's nice to know it took me 40 minutes, right around there, so that I can just turn it on and go and vacuum or do some other chore around the house. It's nice to know how long that machine takes to turn a half gallon of cream into butter. So there we have it. Look at that. Beautiful. I'm gonna finish cleaning up the kitchen. I already got most of it done, but even during filming this, Wyatt took the milk and then brought back jars. So I have more work in front of me, and I am so enjoying learning all of the different things that I can do myself at home with this milk. And if you would like to just join us in seeing all the different things here on the homestead, please hit that subscribe button. If you ring the bell, you get notifications and you won't miss anything we do on our channel. And with that, I'm just gonna go finish my day. I hope you enjoyed some time with us here on the homestead. So I thank you for joining us. Thank you for staying all the way to the end. I hope that you are blessed. I hope you have a beautiful week in front of you. I hope you try and learn something new and feel inspired to do that. And I hope you come back to see us in the next video. With that, bye for now.